Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. It's Fan Friday, the third Fan Friday of the new series I've started. I'm excited about this because I think it's a good way for people at home to interact with us here on the channel and us to interact with them at home. They get a chance to be involved in the channel physically with their answers behind us, and we get to read them and stuff. So I think it's cool. So last week's question was, where are you from? Who do you cheer for? And why do you cheer for them? Or why you're a hockey fan? Those kind of stories are the best stories. I love hearing why people are hockey fans and cheering for the teams that they love to cheer for. There's no story that's the same. Everyone has different reasons. There's people in Australia who cheer for the Maple Leafs. Like, okay, how? Like that's the interesting part. So I'm glad that I got that question out early in the series because it was one that I've been waiting to ask for a while to everyone at home. So I've put together 26 different answers. There was a lot. I think there was over 270 comments.
Good grief.
I just can't read them all on camera. I said that last time. There's just not enough time.
That's a lot.
So I've chosen some based on what you would find interesting, because I knew that you were going to be part of this video.
Right.
And I knew that some of these comments that you would find interesting.
And I suppose everybody who left comments on the last week's question video could those comments are still there.
Totally.
So even if we don't read them on the air, they're still on the comments from last week, so people could still read them for themselves.
Absolutely, and I read all the comments. If you left one and you're not in this video, I promise you I read it. I know your story. I appreciate you leaving that, taking the time to do that. That means a lot.
Great.
All right, so I'll get you to read them. There's 26, and have at it.
First one, Joshua Taves. Winnipeg, Canada, go Jets go. I love hockey. I mostly like them because I live in Winnipeg, but ever since I went to a game the season they came back, I just loved hockey and I've been following and watching ever since. P.S. It's my birthday today. I got NHL 18. It's fun.
Wow, happy birthday, Joshua. That's awesome.
Didn't you?
I just filmed my first NHL 18 video today. I created a team, and I'm going to do a franchise expansion team, 32 teams in my league. And that video will be going up tomorrow because this is Thursday night. This video is going up tomorrow, which is Friday, which is when you're watching it, and then tomorrow Saturday. So
cool. Yeah,
look out for that. Excited. Had fun with it.
Okay. Next we have Dashcam Dan. I like his name already.
Yeah.
Home city, Nottingham. Country, UK. The team, the Nottingham Panthers. The reason, my local team, hockey in the UK is getting bigger and better every year, so it's getting advertised everywhere now. Panthers are one of the best teams in the UK and are surprising everyone in the CHL, even beating SC Bern from Switzerland.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's excellent.
Pretty cool.
Very good, Dashcam Dan. Hope the team does well this year.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on them. Next, Liv Brunton from Sydney, Australia, and I'm a Maple Leafs fan. What got me into hockey was going to University of Regina on exchange last year, and the exchange team taking us international students to a Pats game. It was incredible, and I fell in love with the game from there. The Maple Leafs, I wanted to see where the Pats boys were drafted and watched some vids on the Maple Leafs and was amazed by the talent of Matthews and Nylander. Very good. The Regina Pats. I mean, it's a huge, huge draw in Regina.
Yeah.
So
she's the one that sent in the logos for the AIH.
I remember. Yeah. Thank you very much, Liv. Matt McRedbeard, Ontario, Canada, originally from Summerside, PEI. I cheer for the Red Wings. All you really have to do is watch the Thanks for the Memories video the Red Wings posted on their main channel. It's a huge kick in the heart for any hockey fan, but especially a Wings fan.
Yes, it is.
Growing up, everyone was either a Montreal or Toronto fan, but I loved everything about watching the Wings play. Yzerman was the captain of captains. I fashioned myself after him when I played hockey as a kid. I imagined I was wearing the bright red winged wheel jersey, despite the fact that our jerseys were blue and white with Zellers written across the chest. Zellers is a now gone pretty well Canadian department store, not unlike a Kmart in the United States.
I think it's toast.
I think it's pretty well toast. Zellers all wound up. Some of them became Targets, and then that didn't last too long. But yeah, Zellers is a sponsor for hockey. That's great. All right. So thanks, Matt. Next is Go Sens Go from Edmonton, Canada. I cheer for the Sens. I never was a big Edmonton fan. I mean, sure, I like them, but honestly, just for some reason, I'm not an Edmonton fan. I cheer for the Sens because I respect the history of the team. The year I started watching hockey was '07, and I wasn't really a fan of any team. The Sens were in the finals, and I respected the players, and I respect the players to this day now, too. I got into hockey because of my mother. Growing up as a soccer fan, but then I watched a few hockey games and I was hooked.
That's usually how it goes.
Very good.
Hockey's one of those sports that you watch once and you're like, what's going on? I need to learn more.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, China Pratt. My first memory of hockey comes from Game 5 of the 93 Cup Finals. Ah, game I remember very fondly.
That's why I chose this. And it's long, but it's a good comment.
Okay. A few things stand out. 1, Gretzky handing over a stick to Coach Jacques Demers. I remember that so vividly. 2, Roy hosting the Cup, or Wah hosting the Cup wearing the white Canadiens jersey. But most importantly, number 3, my dad, a manly lumberjack standing in the middle of the living room with his watery eyes fixated towards the big wooden TV. From that day, I was hooked. I started collecting cards, pogs, stickers, pucks, mini sticks, pencils, you name it. Anything with an NHL team logo, I wanted it. I spent countless childhood hours in my room reading hockey magazines and looking up stats. I memorized every player from every team from every year. I was addicted. As the years went on, I watched Hockey Night in Canada with my family almost every weekend, and I've never missed a Cup Finals, ever. I grew up a fan of Patrick Waugh because he was such a dynamite goalie to watch with such attitude and flair. The blowout game against Detroit made me hate the Canadiens, so I followed him to Colorado, a lot like someone else I know.
Very similar.
Followed him to Colorado and watched him win 2 more cups for the Abs. Once he retired and once Colorado began to fall into the abyss, they were no longer televised much in rural Quebec. Geographically, the Senators were closest to me and were on TV all the time, so I began to follow them more and more. I would say that I'm more a fan of the game itself than any particular team. I now live in China, but I'm able to watch the games using the NHL Game Center subscription. Whenever I call home or Skype my dad, the conversation is mostly about hockey and not about relative life updates. I've watched a few games here in Beijing, now that they're in the KHL. I may not be an NHL caliber hockey, or it may not be NHL caliber hockey, but it's still fun to watch. Hockey is a special sport that has given me so many memories in life, not only watching it on TV, but playing outside in the local rink and on the streets in the summer. I'll never stop loving the game because it's part of who I am. From China Pratt. Nicely done.
Good comment.
Yeah, very good comment. And as we're filming this, Vancouver and LA are in China.
Yes, they are.
And if he's in Beijing, maybe he's going to have a chance to catch one of the 2 games that are being played there.
Yeah, pretty big deal.
The other in Shanghai.
Our, just a hint for the future, our podcast is coming back very soon. And our first podcast episode since the break, which will be this weekend, I believe, is about hockey in China. So
yep.
Keep an
Both
eye out.
hockey in China now and what has been attempted in the past.
Yes, exactly.
Alrighty. Boston Bruins fan 4. Hey Neil, I live in New York and I'm a diehard Boston Bruins fan. My dad is a huge Florida Panthers fan and I was one too for many years. My favorite player was Nathan Horton, who is still my favorite player of all time. And when Horton got traded to the Bruins, I was young and not so dedicated to a team yet. So when Horton got traded, I had to become a Bruins fan. I've been one ever since. It's actually kind of a weird story because only a few years into a stint with Boston, Horton's career ended with a concussion, and I had to change my favorite player to Tim Thomas. Then the next year, Thomas gets traded, and my new favorite player is Tyler Seguin. Next thing I know, Seguin's traded to Dallas, and now my favorite player is Torrey Krug. Crossing my fingers that he stays healthy and stays a Bruin. That's good.
Funny.
Yeah. Hockey Bros Universe. I love the Ducks, and here's why. I live in Orange County, California, so obviously the Ducks are involved in the community. My school was going to send a couple of students to a street hockey tournament sponsored by the Ducks. I had tried most sports, but not hockey, so I went to the tournament, and I have loved hockey ever since. That was 3 years ago, and now hockey is practically my life. I play roller and ice, and I'm now a diehard Ducks fan. How could I not like the Ducks? They showed me the amazing sport of hockey. They even brought me my first set of gear and own the rinks that I play at. They're awesome, and I hope you include this in an upcoming video about how dedicated the Ducks Hockey Club is to growing the sport of hockey.
Yeah, I just wanted to include that comment because it's important to know that, all these teams are making efforts locally to grow the sport and to interact with the kids, and they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and it's good to see them doing that, especially in a non-traditional hockey market, because it reaffirms that it's more than just about the money.
Absolutely.
It's about the game, which is great. Hat trick 1972, Clayton, New Mexico, USA, Edmonton Oilers. I got into hockey because it was the first sporting event my father took me to, and that was in Amarillo, Texas in early 1976. No kidding. The team was the Amarillo Wranglers, the old Southwest Hockey League. They had a player named Barry Stafford on the team, and he later worked for the Oilers organization.
That's how you like that one.
So that's how the linkage goes through.
Yeah,
That is really something. Yeah, excellent hat trick. Connor Russo, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm a Bruins fan. I'm a Bruins fan mostly because of Bobby Orr. When I was younger, there was these really good picture books by a guy named Mike Leonetti. He made a book for a lot of hockey legends, including Bobby Orr. After I read that book, I fell in love with the Bruins and Orr. I have always worn number 4 on the ice. P.S. I love getting Leaf fans worked up about the game, about Game 7. Oh, that famous Game 7 a couple of years ago, the Leafs collapse. I think I told the story about being in Toronto that night, working that week, and the next morning on the subway, I was the only guy. I was the only guy smiling.
Yeah.
This is from Pertti Parisia. I'm from Finland, cheering for Montreal Canadiens because of Carey Price. He's my favorite player in the NHL and my idol because I'm a goalie too. It's sad because only 2 of my friends follow the NHL, and the other only follow the playoffs, and they are bandwagoners. As I'm typing this at 6 a.m. and I'm going to a hockey tournament. Go Habs,
Heck
go.
yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Pertti. Super duper. From Mario Neto. I live in Brazil and I cheer for the Sharks. I got into hockey because I started playing roller hockey at a club near home. I played as a goalie. Let me tell you, it's really hard playing goalie in this Brazilian weather. I cheer for the Sharks because my coach gave me a jersey when I was around 10 or 11 years old. Stupid reason, but that's it.
Yep, sometimes that's all it takes. Yeah,
yeah,
it's cool.
You don't have to have a good reason to cheer for a team.
And cool seeing a hockey fan in Brazil.
It's great. James Phillips. The location is Kidderminster, Sheffield, in the UK, and his team is the Sheffield Steelers. The reason I support the Steelers are they are the first hockey team I ever properly followed. First got interested in 2014 Winter Olympics, but I lost interest for 18 months with no team I could tangibly support from my hometown. At university in Sheffield, it's easy for me to go and watch their games, and they sell tickets at the Students' Union for £5. I don't support an NHL team as such. I have no real links to the North America, family links, etc. I've not really ever followed it, but I intend to for this season. Free Sports, a new UK sports channel, has just launched with 3 NHL games a week. IIHF GB games, Great Britain games, coverage of the British teams in CHL, and other hockey such as the SHL and Spengler Cup. This will allow me to watch more hockey and will hopefully allow lots of others in the UK to get into the game too. There's been no free airing of the NHL since the early 2000s here.
Yeah, interesting comment there at the end. I thought that I'd include that for that reason. Pretty
neat.
It
helps us understand the TV marketplace a little better too. Axel Johansson. I live in a small town in Sweden, so it might be Johansson, called Skara, and I also play hockey there. In the Swedish league, I support Frölunda Indians from Gothenburg, the team with the Saddle Dome Arena. In the NHL, I support the Montreal Canadiens because my favorite players play there, Carey Price, Lehkonen, and Weber, and I also love the organization. I started playing hockey when I was 6, mostly because of my dad also playing. Love your YouTube. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Axel. That's great. Kari Lilja. I live in Ilivieska, Finland. Hope I said that right. Ilivieska, Finland. I've been a Blackhawks fan since 1995 when I bought my first NHL jersey from a local store. Yeah, I became a fan just buying a jersey. Chris Chelios, Tony Amonte, Gary Suter, Ed Belfer, Eric Daze, Jeremy Roenick, never forget. But still, my favorite player is Paul Kariya.
Everybody loved Paul Kariya.
Paul Kariya is a great idol to follow.
Absolutely.
Such a nice, decent guy,
And he dropped off the face of the earth after he retired from the NHL. He's not involved in really anything. I think I don't know if this is true, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I read that he just spends his time surfing.
Surfing?
In California. Yeah. Just relaxing.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Damn right.
Whatever turns you crank.
Yep.
Jaden Taylor. Maybe a relation, who knows? I'm from New Zealand, not from a city, but a little village called Pongaroa, with a population of about 100. I support the San Jose Sharks, and my favorite player is Logan Couture. I was so disappointed when they lost the Stanley Cup 2 seasons ago. I don't like the Penguins. About 6 years ago, when I was 11 years old, I went to America for the first time. The first stop was San Francisco, and this is where I discovered the sport of ice hockey.
That's a weird sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's never been said before in a sentence.
No one's ever said that before.
Yeah. Sadly, the reason I just finished and didn't get to see a game. At the start of the next season, I watched my first game, and it just so happened that the home team was the San Jose Sharks. After the first game, I was hooked on ice hockey and have supported the Sharks ever since. I love your channel because there is not many people to talk about ice hockey with in New Zealand. Thanks, Neil. Keep up the great work. Well done. Zeddy, 102. I live in Fort Lauderdale in South Florida. As you can see, I support the Florida Panthers. I started following hockey just recently in 2015. I only noticed the NHL world because my family was going to Sawgrass Mills Mall, and we were looking for directions, and I noticed the BB&T Center on Google Maps, and after some quick research, I found out the Panthers play there. I watched one game on TV before falling in love with the sport.
Sometimes it's just the little things that lead you into the...
Isn't it?
Just, you just buy the BB&T Center and then found it.
Yeah. What happens in that building?
Yeah.
Hockey. Oh. Yeah.
Cool.
John Lesniak, City and Country, Chicago, USA. The team, the Blackhawks, because they're my hometown team. Never got much exposure to them as a little kid, just like all Blackhawk fans, due to them not being on television, but they started to become more popular and on TV during my last few years of elementary and junior high. Then once high school came, they started to become really good and win 3 cups. Ever since I've been able to know what's going on in hockey, I've been hooked. P.S. My Eastern Conference team is Montreal because of Andrew Shaw, formerly PK Subban. I also know I'm a Hawks fan, but I couldn't help but cheer for Nashville in the finals. They have such good talent in Subban, Yossi, Forsberg, etc. They also have a beautiful stadium and great hockey atmosphere. Should be a fun rivalry for a long time. Go Hawks.
Cool.
Very good. This is from Julius. Hello, I live in Slovakia. I'm a hockey fan since I was 9 years old. As I was playing NHL 07, a logo captured my attention. It was the Pittsburgh Penguins logo, and since then I started to not only play for the team in the game, but also paying closer attention to the game of hockey and to the Pens. I can't watch games live because it's usually 2 a.m. here when the games are played, but I always check the scores in the morning. I didn't have anyone to discuss about hockey, but last year I started to go to high school, and I found a friend that loves hockey as well. I found your channel in March, and I watched every single one of your videos. I really appreciate the work you guys do and hope to see the channel growing.
Thank you.
Smiley face, thank you. Very good, Julius. Oilers are mint. O'Leary PEI. I cheer for the Edmonton Oilers because I used to live there for a bit.
I had to throw that in there. PEI comment.
O'Leary is a hockey town.
We'll be there Monday. Well,
yeah,
not there.
It'll actually be in Summerside, but it's the O'Leary game, and you're going to be there.
I am.
You're going to be inside because
I am.
Courtesy of the National Hockey League.
Yes, courtesy of Kraft.
Yeah, the NHL and
Kraft and hockey. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Put you into the arena. Very good.
If you see me, come say hi.
Yeah. Robbie McMahon. I'm from Charlottetown, PEI. Close to us. I'm a diehard Ottawa Senators fan since 2003. I got into hockey because of my sister's friend. She went to a game and brought back a puck, the program, and a Sens binder, and the ticket for me. Ever since then, I curse her for making me a fan of the Sens, but also thank you for getting me into the Senators because we are becoming a good team.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hope Carlson is on the ice soon and makes them a great team.
Robbie's got a package for us. He's going to be delivering that. I'm going to meet him somewhere in Charlottetown in the next couple of days.
Oh, no kidding.
And yeah,
great.
Contribute to mail time.
Excellent. Thanks, Robbie. Frederick Cat Norway. Frederick Cat Norway. I live in Norway, and what got me into hockey was one of my friends who played. Didn't start watching hockey, but played a lot of hockey video games. I've always been fascinated by the city of New York. So the team I first started to cheer for was the New York Rangers, all the way back in 2005. Didn't know anything about them, just knew that they were from New York, and that made them the best in my eyes. I've cheered for them ever since. I get really happy when Zuccarello made the NHL with the New York Rangers, and I started to watch more games. But I have a local team here in Norway that I think is my #1 favorite because I had the chance to get on the ice and play for them after being inspired by my friends to actually play hockey myself.
Pretty cool.
That is very cool. Well done.
We love New York too, so.
We're big New York junkies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Born in Montreal, but I'm totally obsessed with New York. Obsessed.
Totally
with New
obsessed. Surprised we're not Rangers fans by this point.
Yeah.
We love New York so much.
Yeah. Tyler Kangas writes, I am in the U.S. Navy stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so naturally a big Red Wings fan. Hockey is a way of life up there, and the Wings need to go back in time. Fire Holland, and hire Steve Yzerman as GM. Excellent, Tyler Kangas, and thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service, Tyler.
That's
Very
awesome.
important.
That's
what you
awesome. Do. And from the UP, so you're probably happy you're in Jacksonville, especially with fall coming on.
Yeah.
Okay, Kozar's son, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. I'm from North Carolina, but I absolutely despise it here. My entire family on my mom's side and dad's are all from Buffalo. I'm a Sabres fan, but I probably wouldn't be if North Carolina was so disgusting. The weather is awful, hockey isn't that big, and there's a lot of bad drivers.
Come to PEI.
Yeah. I go home, I call it home, to Buffalo 4 to 6 times a year for family, and it's 100 times better than North Carolina. Weather is perfect in the summers, love the snow, and everyone there is all about the Bills and Sabres. It's a sports city. Everybody there is a diehard Bills Sabres fan, and it's so much more enjoyable there. People actually know what they're talking about when it comes to hockey in Buffalo compared to North Carolina, when the only time people show up to a game is if they're doing well. When I go to Sabres and Hurricanes games there are more Sabres fans than Hurricanes fans. It's so fun to feel like you're at a home game. The only reason I live here now is because my dad moved here for a job. So, looks like Kozar's son is looking forward to getting back to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Shuffling off, as we would say. Tanya O'Connor, home city, Charlottetown, PEI. Country Canada, team, Vancouver Canucks. Reason, I grew up liking the Leafs because I live in PEI. I switched to Vancouver when I was 5 because my mom's friend gave me mini sticks, and I always played with the Canucks one. Now I'm turning 11 on the 23rd. P.S. Love your channel. There you go. You know, just got a mini stick with Vancouver on it. Now cheer for Vancouver.
It's just little stuff sometimes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's just great. Josh Connard, named John Connard, pardon me. City, Taylor, Michigan. Team, no idea. Detroit. Why I love hockey, I saw my first ever hockey games in 1996 when the Red Wings went to the conference finals against Colorado. I was 7 years old. Watched every game of the finals with my dad. When Claude Lemieux checked Draper into the dasher and broke his face, was the first time I ever got pissed off in any sport. So that next season came along and I watched almost every single game, including the game. The brawl in Detroit against Colorado was honestly what got me hooked on hockey. You remember that?
Yeah.
When Marty crushed Claude Lemieux, when Roy came flying down the ice and got tackled midair by Shanahan, Patrick Waugh, not Roy, that's my fault. Patrick Waugh standing in the middle of the ice fighting Mike Vernon. Everything about that game made me love hockey. The rivalry, the standing up and doing what you believe in because someone hurt your friend and brother so bad. It was more than just a brawl. It was a war that continued for so many years. That's what got me addicted to hockey. Now I just love watching the game and hoping we win, but I will never forget sitting on my couch, 8-year-old kid, watching hockey with my dad while these giant warriors were out there leaving every last bit of their blood and sweat and tears on the ice. I love hockey.
I included this comment because it's great, and also John was one of our earliest subscribers.
No kidding.
So
that is a great comment too.
It is a great comment, and I appreciate your viewership, John.
Yeah, that's great.
That's the last one. Some great people wrote in there, and like I said at the beginning, I read all the comments. I appreciate all the stories. It was neat to hear from everyone.
Yeah.
Now you know what time it is. It's time for this week's question, which is next week's answers.
Next week's answers, yeah.
So there's some news out of Calgary this week. Arena situations, some negotiating. The mayor said some stuff. The Calgary president said some stuff, Ken King. And we thought that it would be an interesting idea to field you guys the question, if hypothetically Calgary had to leave Calgary. So the Flames were leaving Calgary. It was no, will I do this to keep them? That was the decision. Calgary is moving, or the Flames are moving out of Calgary. So the question is, where do the Flames go and why? Now, before you say Seattle, don't say Seattle, because you can't choose Seattle.
Too easy.
Too easy, too many good reasons. Of course they can go to Seattle. This doesn't even need an explanation at this point. It's just easy. So you can't choose Seattle. So pick another team other than Seattle. So where do the Flames go and why do they go there? So if you choose Milwaukee, okay, why Milwaukee? So I'll pick the best answers, or the answers I like the best, next week, next Friday, and we'll have some more fun.
We'll be back with the answers and reading some of them on the air.
Yeah, we'll be back. So I enjoy you guys writing in. I enjoy you guys, if you watch this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And if you're new to this channel, hope you can hit the subscribe button, contribute down below in the comment section. If you like this video, hit the like button, and we'll see you next week for Fan Friday. Adios.